There was no sign, no river, no map, no sound except the dry wind moving across the stone. And yet, sometime in the afternoon, an old traveler would stop, not because he was tired, but because something invisible had told him to. Hours later, water would emerge from beneath the earth, cool, hidden, alive. To the people watching, it might have looked like intuition. But deserts have always punished luck, and they have never forgiven mistakes. Which raises an unsettling question. How did people find water in places where there appeared to be none? Most people imagine ancient travelers wandering blindly across endless dunes, surviving through courage and chance. That isn't what happened, because the desert is not empty, and the people who survived within it were never truly lost. They were reading a world most modern humans have forgotten how to see. Long before satellites orbited the Earth, before maps reduced entire continents to symbols and lines, humans entered some of the most unforgiving environments on the planet. The Sahara, the Arabian Peninsula, Australia's interior. Places where temperatures could quietly erase life. Places where a single mistake became irreversible. Archaeology tells a different story than common sense would predict. People were crossing these landscapes thousands of years ago. Not occasionally, repeatedly. Entire trade networks stretched through regions that modern vehicles struggle to navigate, which means something extraordinary must have existed. Not technology, knowledge. And knowledge, unlike water, leaves almost no trace behind. The first clue was often hidden in silence. Most people assume water reveals itself dramatically. Rivers, oases, palm trees. But deserts rarely offer such generosity. Instead, they whisper, a slight change in vegetation, a cluster of greener shrubs, a lone acacia tree standing against the horizon. To modern eyes, these details seem insignificant. To experienced desert dwellers, they were messages, because plants do not lie. Their roots betray what the surface hides. Deep underground, moisture might still exist, and life above the sand becomes an announcement. The land itself was leaking information. Birds revealed even more. Ancient travelers saw scouts where most people see background noise. Certain species rarely stray far from water. Doves, sand grouse especially. Researchers studying African deserts noticed something remarkable. Male sand grouse travel extraordinary distances each morning to reach water, then return carrying it trapped inside specialized feathers. An adaptation so unusual it seems almost impossible. Yet for thousands of years, humans noticed these patterns long before scientists understood them. Following their flight paths sometimes meant the difference between survival and disappearance. Nature had created messengers, and humans learned to listen. But perhaps the most astonishing clues came from the shape of the earth itself. Because water remembers gravity, always, even when it vanishes. Hidden valleys, ancient riverbeds carved beneath the surface, dry channels called Wadis stretching across the landscape like ghost arteries. Beneath the stone and sediment, water sometimes lingers. Travelers learned to read slopes, the angle of hills, the color of soil. What looked like chaos was actually history. The desert carried memories, and those memories pointed downward. Sometimes the answers were buried inside stories. Modern minds often separate mythology from information. Ancient societies rarely did. Australian Aboriginal songlines stretched across immense distances. To outsiders, they sounded like sacred stories, but encoded within them were directions, landmarks, seasons, waterholes, entire maps hidden inside memory. Generation after generation carried these songs, not written on paper, but written inside human minds. And because survival depended on accuracy, forgetting became dangerous. Knowledge itself became sacred, not because people were primitive, but because memory was more reliable than ink. Perhaps the greatest misconception is that ancient people conquered the desert. They didn't. Nobody conquers the desert, not truly. Even today, satellites fail, engines fail, GPS signals disappear, but the laws of the landscape remain. And those laws have not changed for millions of years. Some deserts we consider lifeless once supported entire populations. The Sahara itself was greener. Lakes existed. Animals roamed where endless sand now stretches. Environments change faster than cultures expect. They always have, and memory became a weapon against extinction. But beneath all of this lies something stranger, something deeply unsettling. Most people believe intelligence means separating ourselves from nature, standing above it, mastering it. Yet for most of human existence, intelligence meant the opposite. It meant becoming sensitive, observant, patient. The greatest survival skill was not strength or speed or technology. It was attention. Modern life rarely rewards this. Our eyes move toward screens. Our maps speak to us. Satellites think for us. And slowly, almost invisibly, we outsource perception itself. The people we call primitive were perceiving realities we no longer notice, not because they possessed secret powers, but because necessity sharpened their relationship with the world. They belonged to it. And perhaps that is what deserts have always revealed. Not where water is, but where humans stand. Somewhere beyond the roads and satellites, the wind still moves across the sand. Birds still rise at dawn. Ancient riverbeds still sleep beneath the earth. And hidden under a landscape that appears completely empty, life waits quietly, patient, invisible, and indifferent to whether we remember how to find it.